Today's topic is...
Should you keep your Warhammer collection hidden from your girlfriend?
Or potential girlfriend. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to WAYPN. I'm Cal.
And I'm Sunny.
Today's topic is...
Should you keep your hobby a secret from your partner?
Basically, no.
Well, I can see why people would do it.
Okay, can you tell me why?
Well, two main aspects. You're basically investing your money, a lot of money, in plastic toy soldiers, and that can seem immature.
Yeah, okay. You're saying that it seems immature, which is one separate thing, and you're saying the cost of the hobby itself.
Yes, the cost of the hobby itself is really quite expensive, and when you're in a sort of a serious relationship or pursuing a serious relationship, costs and responsibilities are going to be part of daily or weekly conversations. And if you have to constantly justify the costs of your happiness, then, I can see why people would hide it.
I'm going to talk about two things here. All right. First off, we also talked about people who are looking for potential girlfriends, right? And potential partners and whether they should hide it, right? So the thing is, let's imagine that this person can afford it, right? Do you think that they'd hide it because it looks immature?
Yes, they probably would think like, why are you still playing with toys, my bruh?
Okay, you think if a person can afford this, is it still a problem?
Yes, in the sense of the perception. But if you cannot afford it and the perception is that way, it's terrible twos.
Okay, so it doubles up is what
Yeah,
you're
doubles
saying.
up.
All right, so let's go into this a bit more. With the cost, basically what you're saying is if someone can afford it, you're saying they need to justify why they're spending this much.
No, if they can afford it, they need to justify why they are even spending their money in this hobby, because there are other hobbies that are more worth their time rather than playing with toys. But if they can't afford it, then they have to constantly justify why they would like to get those things, like models or codexes or whatever it may be.
Okay, all right. So you're saying that if a girl comes along and she says, all right, you're spending all this money on it, but you can afford it, essentially, and she's trying to get you out of it, you should basically ask, all right, why don't you like this thing? Because I can afford this.
Exactly.
And if you can afford it, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yes.
All right, now we go to the second thing, which is the immaturity thing
Yes,
you're
that's
talking
right.
about. So what is it in particular that turns you off about this?
Not me in particular, because when you introduced this hobby to me, I was very excited because it just gave me like a new world. I get to play all these games. But I'm talking in terms of the general consensus of women, especially when they don't really have a gaming culture as part of their lives, right?
Well, you didn't have a gaming culture as a part of your life, but I guess for you just sort of saw it as art attack.
Yeah, for me it was, it's creative. It's also fun because especially role-playing games, you get to tell stories, you really get to use your imagination. But I think that can be seen as childish endeavors to some women, right? Maybe younger girls, not so much. They might be more open-minded, but maybe older women might not see it as that.
Okay, so there is a whole culture which comes along with gaming, right? 40k, you've got Henry Cavill, The Witcher, all of these sorts of things, right? For D&D, you've got Critical Role. You've got all of these communities to go into, right?
Yes.
But you're talking about women outside of these communities.
Yeah.
And you're saying it really depends on how you introduce them.
Yes, because let's think about it for a second. Most men are, they think to themselves, it would be really nice if I had got a girl who understood the gaming scene, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a lot of women. So they're like,
in fact,
I'm only
that
gonna.
was one of our comments before, which was it should be more how to find a 40k girlfriend or something like that. Whereas the thing is, when we did that podcast, how to get your girlfriend into 40k, it almost seemed as if these people thought that you already were into it.
Yeah, but I wasn't. I was brought into that, because like I said, it would be nice. They know they're not going to be able to get someone who gets it, right? The probability of them getting a girl who already gets it is very low. So they have to put up with a normie, essentially.
Yeah, well, essentially, if you're looking for a girlfriend who already understands 40K, you're looking for the 5-figure salary, 6 foot tall, 6 foot 3 foot guy or whatever.
Yeah, like the impossible standards.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you go to a game store, you may see some girls there, but how many girls are there actually? Your pool are already very small. Yeah, but that's okay. We're like going besides the point. But yeah, a lot of women you're going to be meeting up with are going to be outside of this community, and I can understand how they would see it as immature. Why are you, a person, a man, a fully grown man, playing with plastic toys and pretending to be a wizard? Did you not learn how to grow up at some point, or did you have a puberty stunt? And then it's like, are your parts still working if you're in this? They might think like that. That's the thing that goes in at the back of a girl's mind. Will your hobby equate to you providing for me and security for me? Will you be a man? Which is a lot of pressure for a guy.
So what I think you're saying is this: you need to show that this hobby isn't all consuming, right? And even somebody like myself who makes money out of the hobby, who is very invested into the hobby, you take a look at that and you're saying what you needed to be shown was, no, I'm a man outside of this.
Yeah, this is just something I enjoy, right? And I think it's good for people to keep that in mind, men to keep that in mind. Don't hide it. You just need to know that, okay, girls think this way. They just want social security, financial security. If I can show that I can do these things, just sort of up that part of yourself a bit.
And when you say social security, you're not talking about their social security number. That's a red flag.
That's a bit, a little bit off the way. They just want to know, essentially, at the primordial aspect of a woman's brain is, when I have the babies, will you protect me from the wolves?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you just show that you're taking care of her emotionally.
And you're not talking about the wolf kin from 40K.
Yeah, you're able to, provide for her emotionally and also support somewhat in financially, then she's just going to feel safe. And then she's just like, oh, he plays with his little toys, don't mind him, she's not going to think too much of it. But yeah, I can, at the end of the day, these are the two things that, women are looking at.
So let's just break it down, right? All right. Number 1, you need to be able to afford your hobby.
Yes.
Number 2, you need to be able to show that there is more to you than this hobby.
And I think coming back to that part, if you hide your hobby from a girl, it just shows that you don't have confidence in yourself and your interests, which
I'd agree.
Actually goes against what she's looking for. Like some guy who is, like, hey, yeah, I have my interests, you have your interests, like, don't be down on me for it. If you can't handle it, maybe we're not compatible for it. Don't be shamed by your own interests. You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, like if you had your models all nicely painted up and on a shelf and they look at it, they're like, oh, what's that? You're like, well, those are things that I painted. That's stuff that I made.
Yeah, and you show pride. When you show pride, a woman sees that pride and she sees like, this is a confident man who knows what he's doing. That's it. That's all she sees and that's what she wants.
All right. So, number 1, afford your hobby. Number 2, have confidence in your hobby.
Yes. Don't hide. Have pride. Stand your ground. Be assertive.
And there's one other thing that you could do to make sure that hobby isn't hidden.
Oh, yeah?
Keep those brushes wet.
Oh, no. I forgot to say it with you.
All right. You want to try again?
Okay. Keep those brushes wet.
So we've actually had this on the back burner for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, and we've been sort of come back to it, and we're wondering whether or not it's a good video to put out because it's very brutally honest.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the reasons why we ummed and ahed about it a lot. But we think that honesty is one of our highest principles, and we think it's better for people to get the honest
view of how a woman thinks when it comes to this particular hobby, give you the no BS version of this, if you will. But we do predict some level of controversy with this video because I am being quite unfiltered in this one. Our aim is not to be hurtful but informative, and we think that
there's a lot of people out there who is going to sell you a story, and we're not selling you a story. We're giving you our raw, unfiltered truth, and we hope that it's helpful to you.
yes.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.